Okay, this is me back again. I'm gonna try to do this without saying so many times. This is my last recording, so fingers crossed. All right, so before I got into breaking down all the trips that I've been at and all the little pointers that I have, I wanted to start off by giving a few travel tips, a few things that I kind of learned the hard way, going along and figuring out, like I said, the hard way. So hopefully you can learn from me and not be so hard-headed. All right. So I'd like to start off by saying research the area. I don't have a whole lot of time to research, being a single mom, working all the time, lots of extracurricular activities, soccer practice, football, everything you can think of. But it's very important to research, very important to figure out where you're going, what the points of interest that you are interested in seeing are, and kind of map out your vacation so that you A, have enough time, B, have enough money, C, can make it flow a little bit. So rather than going to one place in one location, coming back, seeing something else in a different location, realizing, oops, this other place is in that location, and kind of flip-flopping back and wasting a lot of travel time, you want to stack up your things, your tours and sites accordingly. So anyway, so do some research. A lot of people rave about the Rick Steves books. I know he has some travel books, and like I said, a lot of people rave about it. I don't have a whole lot of experience with those books. Basically, the majority of the time I look at these eyewitness books. They are good. They have a lot of pictures. I like pictures, and it gives you an opportunity to look at the pictures and say, oh yeah, that's right, I didn't know what that was called, but I've seen it and I've always wanted to go there. So this will give you some history, some background, some information, even phone numbers to call if you have questions. Do you allow kids under the age of 10 on this tour, or whatever? It says that, this is only open in spring. Are you open in summer? Whatever your questions are, a lot of times it has all that information in these books. Now, having said that, these books are $25 a piece. Gets costly when you're doing a lot of traveling. So I suggest what I do now, after I've bought a few of these, is to go to your local library. They have all of them there typically. And, check it out, read it, photocopy it, and get the information that you need without having to spend all that money. All right, so again, like I said, research, put together kind of a diagram of what you plan on doing, and make sure it flows well. Think about the season that you're going in. Is it high tourist season? That's going to be a pain in the butt because you're going to be standing in lines typically, and pickpockets are often out in high tourist season. So any time you can go during a safer season, during a more easy season, I always suggest doing that. I like to personally go to different locations off season, because most of the time you can still find good weather, just a whole lot less BS, So think about that. Think about the season, the weather, pack accordingly. A lot of traveling that I like to do is with Ryanair. Ryanair, to me, is just amazing, especially if you're popping around here in Europe. I have got tickets for things as low as, I think, $9.99, which is insane, because back in the States you can't go anywhere. You're lucky to get a bus somewhere for $9.99. So, however, the things that you need to be conscious of is Ryanair, it costs extra for luggage. So if you have to bring your luggage, make sure that you purchase your luggage online before you check in. So it's going to be significantly cheaper if you do that. If you get your luggage at the ticket counter, I want to say it's about double the price of if you just purchased it online. So make sure you do yourself a favor, and if you're going to bring a suitcase, make sure you buy it online, or pay for it online. Let me see. That's also a way that I plan my trips. Oftentimes is I go on the Ryanair app and I see, oh, look at this trip to Portugal is $15.99 each way. Let's do it, you know. That's oftentimes how I start the planning of my trips. So could be fun. I think that's fun. So anyway, another thing you need to think about is where you're going to stay. Oftentimes the hotels are a little expensive, especially if you're going to a big city. So be aware of that, and but know what you like. You know, if you're into hotels because they give great breakfasts, then by all means. To me, I was very afraid of using Airbnb when I first started traveling around here, and everyone kept telling me, oh, Airbnb is the best, you got to try it. But being a single mom with 2 kids, I was a little leery about being in someone's home alone that I didn't know. So it took me a while. So how I eased my way into that was by finding a travel buddy, which is another thing that I suggest, is find yourself a travel buddy. Then you can cut the cost in half in terms of where you're staying, and that usually is going to be your biggest expense when it comes to traveling. So to me, that's a great idea. Now, the Airbnb places, when I finally did muster up the courage to stay at an Airbnb, best experience. The very first one that I stayed in was in Paris, and it was literally probably a 5-minute walk, and that was because I had a 1 and 6-year-old in tow. It would have taken a whole lot less time if it was just adults. So it was just in an amazing location. There was everything I could possibly need right outside the door. It was safe. It was wonderful. So I will never go to Paris and stay anywhere else. So check the Airbnbs. Again, they have 9 times out of 10, they got a kitchen. You can just go get some groceries for breakfast for the week or however long you're staying, and then you don't have to pay to go out, and you have whatever you want for breakfast, you know. Again, I had a nice bakery right down the street, or right a couple doors down from where I was staying. So that was amazing. There was a fruit stand on the other side. Amazing, just the best. Anyway, so Airbnb, Ryanair, 2 huge things that I would definitely check out if you're looking to travel here in Europe. One thing that people don't typically think of first in their planning a trip is how you're going to get around. What's your transportation going to look like? I don't always suggest renting a car, even though you think it's more convenient. You know where the heck you're going. And a lot of these places, a lot of these cities, the traffic sucks. So I would not want to be driving probably in London or Paris. You have all kinds of buses and tourists and people walking across the street and tuk-tuks all over the place. You need to think about that. So again, for me, transportation is huge. I almost always get a taxi from the airport to wherever I'm staying. I personally don't like messing around with my luggage and my kids in tow, so I like to get there in the most direct route possible and not mess around. So I will definitely pay the money to get a taxi from the airport to wherever I'm going. I don't mess around in the subways or whatever when I got luggage and kids, and that to me is just way too much stress. So I get a taxi to where I'm going. Other than that, if I'm going far out, I will get a taxi, but oftentimes I like getting the tuk-tuks. And if you don't know what a tuk-tuk is, it's like a little rickshaw. And I'm sure you've seen them if you've done any traveling. Basically, it'll be like a little carriage with somebody pedaling the bike in front, or it's a little moped attached to it, and they just drive you around to wherever you want to go. They can be expensive in some places, and other places they're pretty cheap. And to me, that is part of the fun. You know, I've got a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they just love the tuk-tuk. My son, we were in Portugal a month or two ago, and he was so upset at me because we didn't end up getting to ride any tuk-tuks. So that could be part of the fun when you're en route to go to somewhere. Like I said, we typically stay in a central location in the city, but if you're going somewhere like, for example, in Paris, the Louvre is close, but not close enough to walk. And again, if you're getting in a taxi, you're sitting there, you're oftentimes paying to sit in traffic in some of these places with a lot of traffic. The tuk-tuks, they kind of got their own lane. They drive on the sidewalk, they drive on the road, they drive all over the place, but it's still fun for the kids and typically pretty safe. So yeah, so I like that. Also, another suggestion that I have is the hop-on, hop-off bus. That, to me, is wonderful. Typically, you can purchase a hop-on, hop-off bus ticket for 1 or 2 days, and you have unlimited hopping on and hopping off that you want to do. I suggest what I do, and what works for me, is that I get on the hop-on, hop-off bus, and I ride the entire loop, and I listen, because it's like having your own little personal tour guide. You know, they tell you the history of everything that you're passing, and you get the lay of the land. So you get to see, you know, this is what I want, this is what I want to see, this is what I don't want to see. Oh, okay, so this one is closest to that one. Big Ben is right next to the Eye of London. Okay, you know, you get that idea rather than running around, especially if you, like I sometimes don't have time to plan great. So that often, like I said, gives me an opportunity to get the lay of the land. Then you can just stay on there until wherever you want to go, hop off and check it out, and then hop back on when you're done. So, wonderful thing. I think for me, I was underutilizing it initially, but now I love it, and I always go on it wherever I go. You can also purchase that online prior to getting there, but I like to usually purchase it on location, because you don't want to mess around if you get there late and then you just missed however long, because you get it for 24 or 48 hours. But if you get there late, then, you know, sucks to be you. They're not going to give you an extra day, I don't think, unless you are a really smooth talker. So anyway, let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I think that is it for now. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope that you subscribe and like and share with your friends. I'm going to probably start off with Lisbon, Portugal, which is the last place that I went to. So look forward to that one. I have a few different ones that I'm going to try to get out here soon. And go ahead and comment below if there's anything specific that you're interested in knowing, if there's anything that any questions that you have. So like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and look forward to seeing you again. Bye.